Going? Yo, we are live. We are ready.
This is not AA.
No, it's not A. I think you're in the wrong spot.
Keep coming back.
It works if you work it, right?
That's very true.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Another special guest in the building, my friend Gina.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
Sleepy.
No, not sleepy. I know we took a little bit of time, so we're gonna hurry up and get this shit popping.
No. You're good.
All right. As long as we good and you good, I'm good.
You're good.
Let's rock.
We're good.
Just play my little intro tune. What is today? Friday. It is Friday.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patty's Day, green beads and all. We just went and had a blast down at Point 5. You know the vibes.
Don't ask how we got him.
I didn't flash. Somebody might have, though. Let's get it.
Oh. So do Irish people celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Are you Irish?
This is a real question.
I don't know.
Shower thought.
Shower thought.
Yep.
Bro,
Shower thought.
hand me my phone, yo.
Gotta Google it.
Thank you.
Gotta ask Jeeves.
That's somebody.
Yep.
We good?
We good.
All right. Redeem Yourself podcast in the building with another episode with a special guest. Announce her again. Her name is Gina.
Hello.
And I am your host, Jared. You know, we in for another good conversation. You know, however you feel, whatever you want to talk about,
Absolutely.
that's how we gonna rock. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Let's do this check-in first. How was your week, man?
Ooh. It was a week that didn't end last week. It was one big week. It was exhausting.
Okay.
I'm good. I had to go through the motions and the feelings and sit in it, lay in it in my bed for 4 days. But got up, and actually yesterday and the rest of this week has been beautiful.
That's what's up.
Really good. So.
Starting to come out of that restless slump.
Yes. And, patched things up with my younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So, when you're doing the next right thing and you're living life, on good terms, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, like, that's when you really see, like,
the blessing.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I feel like this is like my fourth or fifth night in here. How many nights we been in here, Sean? 4? Oh, 4. Yeah. It's producer Sean, Mr. Recovery Outdoors. Let me salute all my people. 0.5 RVA. If you are into non-alcoholic beverages, please go see them. 3435 West Carey Street here in Richmond, Virginia. My guy Sean in the building, Recovery Outdoors, bringing kayak to recovery and other outdoor recovery programs to assist with all of us struggling with addiction, to help one another with another pathway. And if you're looking for real estate coaching, a way to change the trajectory of your lifestyle, your family's lifestyle, Charged Up University, my guy Chris Jefferson, go talk to him. Now that I got that out the way, it's about you. Are you ready?
Yeah, shoot. I mean, just ask me anything.
Well, anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll keep it simple, yo.
I mean, never have I ever.
Oh, shit. I've not played that game in ages.
I used to play it all the time when I was younger, and I, won all the time because I was actually kind of good.
That was like a wild drinking game, right? Or did you not play it when you were drinking? Am I, out of the loop here? Was that something people did without drinking?
I didn't really play drinking games. I was telling Taylor this tonight. I was like, yeah, I never played drinking games because it wasn't a game for me. I'm like, yo, this shit is serious. This is not a game, guys.
Yo,
I'm not here to play games. I'm here to get drunk.
All right, well, let's get into the vibes, yo. How was life for you growing up? Bring me through childhood,
yeah.
What it looked like, the dynamics of, life for you.
Okay, so I'm going to put it into feelings. Fear.
Okay.
Lots of fear as a very young kid, irrational fears. And I'm not talking about quicksand, irrational fears. I'm talking about just things kids should not think about as kids. Okay. So lots of fear, lots of anxiety. self-hatred at a super young age, just not ever knowing what to expect. So I was walking on eggshells, basically crawling on eggshells as a baby.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think them feelings stemmed from though? Because that's like deep
Oh
to
yeah,
experience as a child.
absolutely. I mean, it definitely, I'm not going to say it's my parents' fault because I'm not one of those people who like
Yeah.
is going to blame things on my parents.
And
'Cause, you know,
hindsight is 2020. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. And they were doing what, the best they could, you know.
Awesome. Salute to all the parents of the world.
Yeah, I love my parents. My mom is the goat. She's fucking, I can cuss on here, right?
Yeah, do your thing.
She's fucking
Yeah.
awesome. Mom, you're great.
Mom, you're fucking awesome.
Becky, they made a song about you. You're great.
Becky with the good hair.
Oh no, give him that
Oh,
Becky.
Oh, that Becky. Okay.
She knows it.
I fucking love it.
Becky.
All right. That Becky. All right.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, my parents, I was telling you a little bit, my parents got divorced when I was 2. I mean, I don't remember any of that. I don't really have that first, like, people are like, what's your first memory? And it's like, oh, like swinging on the swings. And
Mhm.
I'm like, my neighbor molesting me, like that is,
Wait. For real?
oh, for real.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I didn't have good memories. My parents got divorced when I was very young, and my dad, it was just like, bouncing back and forth from like my mom's house to my dad's house. And I just can remember like my sister and I had these like matching Beauty and the Beast suitcases,
Mhm.
which I was like, these are cool, but really it's like, let's wrap this like really fucked up situation in like a Disney movie, like suitcase and,
Right.
wrap it in a bow.
Yeah. You started to put it together. So you think the dynamic of not having, I don't want to say stable because I don't know everything, but the bouncing back and forth played like a role in your upbringing?
Oh, for sure.
And
Go ahead.
I was asking because I could see that in my own kids for a period of time. Me and my ex had 50-50 custody of both. And when they were at my house, they would act a certain way. Then they would leave and turn the fuck up. And then they'd come back home. And it was like always a readjusting period, having to remind them like, hey, no, that's not how we do things. Is that like kind of?
Yeah, for sure. So my dad originally had custody, like full custody of my sister and I, unfairly. I'm just gonna say that. There was some shady stuff. Apparently, their divorce was like the talk of the town. It was a big deal.
Where'd you grow up?
Charlottesville.
Okay.
Funny, everyone in the whole town knew about their divorce and like what happened, and I didn't find out until I was in high school from my friend's mom. So, but
Your friend's mom gossiped to you about.
I mean, because no one else would tell me.
Oh
like,
yeah, so you were just in the dark your whole life, and
like,
then
what'd you guys do?
How did that conversation come out? She just.
Yeah, I mean, I asked her, and she knew about it, and so I was like, okay. So, but now my mom straight up will tell me today, like everything, like
okay,
which is cool. Cool thing about having a sober parent.
Yeah, y'all get to share a lot of bonds together.
Yes,
and then revisit.
But, yes, this kid was extremely manipulative. My mom, like, basically, let us kind of do whatever. She didn't let us do what we wanted, whatever we wanted to, but like she knew we were going to do it anyway.
Right.
Like this is a true story and it's embarrassing, but also shows like the addict in me as a kid. We used to live, Charlottesville's super small. And back then it was real small. So like it was like a circle and you could get like around Charlottesville.
Right.
So my mom we lived in a townhouse. And all you had to do to get out of the neighborhood and to get onto 29, like the main road, was take a left. But right there, next to like right when you took a right, there was Kmart, and I don't know about y'all, but they had like the best toy aisle.
Yo, Kmart was the shit back in the
It
day.
really was.
Like, no
Like,
lie.
no lie.
Salute to Kmart.
Right? Miss you guys. My mom sure doesn't though. Anyway, so yeah, my mom would have to like go the exact opposite way to get to the same road, like 15 minutes longer, because I would throw a fit about not going to Kmart.
Damn. So you knew how to play the game
Oh.
at a young age.
Yeah.
Man, that shit sounds so familiar. God.
And you know, I just got real good at it. And so yeah, I always had like the newest toys. Like our house was like the cool house to go have sleepovers at because like, you know, Gina's family, they have all the good snacks.
Right.
Like it was all about like giving and getting. And my dad's household, my dad and my stepmom, complete opposite.
Okay.
So I have a little sister from my dad and my stepmom.
Okay.
And we are like night and day. The households are completely different. I would be a completely different person if I had
been in that
if
environment.
I stayed at my dad's house.
Yeah.
When I was in like the 3rd grade, I was just like, I want to go live at my mom's house. And so I did. And then my older sister followed, and then it kind of just got bad because I knew I could get away with whatever I wanted to at my mom's house. Like, and also like my mom just, it was shitty living at my dad's house. Sorry, Dad.
Was you think is more of like the discipline side, like expectations, stuff like that, you know? Because again, as a parent, I have similar situations in my own upbringings with my kids where, you know, hey, you could have the world at my house, but it also comes with expectations, right? If you do the right thing, I'm not going to bother you. Where they could go to another place and do whatever the fuck they want without consequences and didn't matter.
So I hear you talking about that, and I can even like imagine you like trying to explain to your kids like, hey, but there was not that was lacking in that household at my dad's house. He worked a lot. And so we were with my stepmom a lot, and I've said this to her face in sobriety. I was like, I don't know what you got yourself into at 30 years old, marrying my dad with the shit show that was me and my little sister or my older sister. Like, what did you marry into?
Right.
Like, it wasn't money. It was it's crazy.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking like, shit, I was 33 at the time when I made that realization. I wouldn't do that today. So like, what were you thinking?
It's not your bag because you kind of lived it.
And she had no idea what she was doing. Bless your heart. Like, you did your best. You got a second chance to redeem yourself when you had Jennifer. Jennifer is amazing.
Awesome. Salute to Jennifer.
Jennifer, you're awesome. But damn, like, I mean, being locked in a bedroom, like if we got in trouble and just giving us bread and water, that was the day I was like, I'm going to go live at my mom's house because
that's a little extreme too. Goddamn.
She didn't know what she was doing. Like, she just didn't know.
Yeah. And man, see, I'm a parent. Like, I think that's been a threat. Like, hey, bro, if you don't like what I have, you know, you can eat bread and water because that's what they'll give you on the street if you're lucky enough.
And that could have been like what happened. Like,
as a kid, you're not realizing that. So I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, fuck this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go do what the fuck I want over here. So I understand. Word.
Yeah. And it's just like, another big thing, and I didn't realize this until I was sober. My dad and my stepmom took me to multiple like psychiatrist doctors, starting off at a really young age. And I get that when you have a divorce, it's good for kids to go to therapy and like, especially when they're younger, like we were, but they were trying to put a label on me, just a kid just trying to deal with the
emotions,
the trauma. Like kids are not supposed to deal with the shit I went through when I was a kid. So they don't know how to cope with it.
Right.
They don't have these skills. Their minds, like my mind, like I was a kid, like, so they were just trying to put a label on me. So it was like, oh, she's just borderline, or she just has attention deficit disorder. I mean, I totally have that, but
But some shit as a kid don't need to be labeled.
100%.
My younger son, he recently went through that like 2 years ago. And it was all labels. And I was like, yo, I know my son, and this is not him. And, by the grace of God, I was able to pull him out of that and assist him with like, bro, this is what they're saying.
Right.
Like he's super self-aware. I had him read the 4 agreements. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty smart. And I'm like, bro, like they're labeling you as this, and I know this isn't you.
Right.
So let's work on changing the inside so it'll show on the outside.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
This conversation is amazing because I didn't even know it was going to go there. So for me to listen to you as an adult talk about the things that I'm seeing currently is like eye-opening. So thank you for that.
Of course.
For sure.
What really opened my eyes was I met my my preschool teacher happened to be in the second AA meeting I went to. She tapped me on the shoulder. Preschool teacher from like Charlottesville when she was like 23.
Damn.
And now she's like, it was just
grown
like that is something like to
full
me
circle.
That's the universe, that's God, whatever you want to call it. But we talked about my childhood a lot, and she was like, you were the best kid I had. You were my favorite kid. And I was like, really? Because my parents always told me or they always made it seem like I was such a horrible child.
Damn.
And another thing that they did to try and label it, they took me to multiple doctors, like maybe 4 or 5, to get second opinions like that.
See, and
quit trying so hard.
Yo, and that's where like, as a parent,
they didn't know how to parent.
I refuse to do that shit. Like, I am going to try everything I can until I got to throw my hands up and say, okay, like maybe we need something more than what I can offer.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it took me being sober, of course, to understand like, yo, this shit don't add up. Like I hear you, therapist person, but you spend maybe 30 minutes a week, every 2 weeks. I'm every day in this shit. So I see it. You know what I mean? I see the flashes of the person that's in there when they're in my care. So you're not going to give me this label and tell me definitively this is it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going for that shit. So
right.
I understand.
And also like they're very much so. I'm not bashing my dad or my stepmom.
Nah,
I love
not
them.
by no means. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm keeping it real. Like, if they were just trying so hard to like not deal with whatever was going on, and as long as they could have a label to neatly like
package it up and
like a name tag almost.
Yeah. Oh,
like
this is what's wrong
with Gina. Like, oh, she's just this, that, and the other. It's not our fault. Like, it's very much so like what we look like, what we appear. And at my mom's house, it was the complete opposite. Like,
let's get into that bag. You said in 3rd grade, right? You decided
3rd grade, yeah.
You was up and out of your pop's house. You was moving in with your mother. And how did life start to change then for you?
We had lots of animals growing up. I remember like my mom is so funny. I love my mom. Like we can't go to the SPCA. We cannot
pick up mad puppies.
We literally at one point had 6 black cats.
God damn, I can feel my allergies acting up right now.
But listen, so the reason why were they all black? Right? No, because my stepdad wouldn't notice that we got another cat.
Really? Oh, because they'd all look the same. Until they all laid out one day. Like, wait a minute.
Right? Why are there 6 black cats staring at me?
Damn.
Yeah. So,
what a tactic.
I know, it's smart.
Holy shit.
Kids, close your ears. We literally can't go to the SPCA, but it was also like, we did grow up with a lot of pets, but I also got them taken away from me, out of nowhere.
They took away your pets?
My mom one day, she just got rid of a kitten, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like that's kind of traumatic.
That sounds familiar.
It's very traumatic. And obviously, I don't think she was doing it to be like, ha ha ha,
yeah.
No, I just think that it wasn't thinking
about how it would affect you.
Exactly. lots of sneaking and lying to kind of make sure this kid's okay, make sure that kid's okay. But really what it did was it tore us apart, my sisters and I. That was kind of more like later down the road.
Okay.
But my mom's an alcoholic in recovery. She has 6 years.
What was your mom? Becky, right?
Becky.
Salute to Becky. Let me give you the
Love you.
6 years in the game. I love it.
She's amazing.
Good job, Becky.
But
with the good hair.
Becky, she also knows what that is. She does have good hair too. She's a great woman. Anyway, so yeah, she's an alcoholic. It was funny. I was at her home group meeting recently. And her service role is to greet. She's a greeter. And this guy walks in and he goes, my mom was like, this is my daughter. And he was like, yeah, you guys have good genes or whatever. And my mind goes to, yes, the alcoholic gene, like not like.
It like looks in
right.
appearance.
I'm like, yep, got that.
That's why we're here.
Got it. Exactly. I'm
How
like,
did you know?
Got that from her. But yeah, like just crazy stuff. So like not knowing what to expect when I got off the bus pretty much every day, like what mom was I going to experience? And I talked about this on the podcast, Salty Moms Gone Sober with Alyssa and Brie.
Salute that. What's the name of that podcast?
Salty Moms Gone Sober, and they're local here.
All right, with Alyssa and Brie. Yeah. I got to connect with y'all.
They're amazing. Word. Love them. I was getting off the bus, and so you got off at the top of like a street that then like
made like a
arms, two arms into like one street here, one street there. So
fork in the road.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I haven't slept in 2 days.
I got you. Oh, look, we are in here. This is support group.
Yeah. I thought I was in AA.
Yeah.
I love AA. I'm not bashing it. I'm a big fan. So I remember getting off the bus, and I think it was in like the 5th or 6th grade. I was young enough to not know things and still be like a dumb kid, but I was also aware enough to be like, what's going on? So I'm like, our house was like the first house on the right, and you kind of had to like go over a little hill, and I see this big red van in the driveway, like a work van kind of, and all I see is pest control on the side. And I'm like, oh my God, they're getting rid of me. Like, this is it.
Pest control?
Yeah, like a pest.
Yeah, like so you thought you were the pest?
I swear to God.
Okay.
I swear to God.
This is great.
What kid? What the heck? Like, that's not normal. Not normal.
It happens though, you know.
Not normal. And then like, okay, so the drinking, like I never put 2 and 2 together. I don't think I put 2 and 2 together until like after I started drinking, like, and started seeing the behavior in myself, like how alcohol, like what it did to me. Like I literally would turn into the exorcist.
So when did you start drinking?
I took my first like drink in high school.
Okay.
Or maybe, no, it was 8th grade.
Okay. Like a little experimentation type vibe.
It was like science. It was like mixing, I think we mixed like Tanqueray.
Mad different shit.
Whiskey and like orange juice.
Dog, isn't it crazy? Like as kids, like you just, because we were mirroring what we saw, right? Like my parents never drank in front of me. My dad he rarely drinks now. He did have a problem when I was younger, but you know, he owned up to it, and him and I talked about it because he noticed it in me. You know what I'm saying? But they never really drink, so it was just like my uncles and stuff that I would see, and my first drink was just a beer. Like my aunt had like some Coronas in her fridge. So me and my cousins were like, "Oh, let's just try it."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So we popped the cap, went outside, and I'm pretty much like faked the drunk. You know, like, oh, this is cool. Like this is why they do it, and that was kind of the start.
Right.
But you were mixing up all the different concoctions.
I was like, I know that they keep all this stuff in the cabinet, like.
Word.
But I didn't know like that. I always thought my mom, I was like, what's wrong with my mom? Like, why is she not like the other moms? Like, why is she crazy? Like, what's wrong with her? I didn't know that's what alcohol did to you.
Mhm.
I don't think I did, at least. I just knew when I was little.
It was something was going on. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Like getting home and it was like 6 o'clock time. I had to go to bed.
Mhm.
Like, it's 6 o'clock.
yeah, like, what are you doing here?
Just crazy shit. And not this is the kicker. Like,
Mhm.
when it kind of came full circle, because I did this when I drank. My mom would never remember anything the next morning, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?
Mm.
Like, why can't you remember shit?" And like, do you not remember like throwing your car keys at me last night and making me sit at the bar top until my food was gone? But I was anorexic, so it was clearly not going to eat. You
Right.
know, so we'll be here all night. I'm not going to eat that food.
Mm.
But I did that too. Like, I would, black out all the time and then wake up and be like,
What the fuck happened?
well, not that, and also everything's fine.
Mm.
But in all reality, the people around me, it wasn't fine.
So let's get into that. You took the first concoction in like 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
How did it start to grow from there? Like how did life start to move along?
I mean, really, I smoked a lot of pot, to be honest.
Yeah, I think weed was heavy for all of us. Like,
I smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And I drank like because it was like the rite of passage or whatever. Like, everybody like, oh, we're drinking like
We're talking like 9th, 10th grade.
Yes, you remember Cisco's?
Nah, we ain't do no Cisco's.
You know what I'm talking
We
about?
had Mad Dog 2020.
No, that too.
Oh, you used to drink the Mad Dog?
Yeah,
I didn't drink no Mad Dog.
Sorry, it's MD 2020. That's what we called it.
You know what? I did not know MD doesn't stand for Mad Dog. Nah, bro.
Mad Drunk is what it stands for. Fuck.
We just called it Mad Dog 2020. It's not. MD stands for something completely different.
Oh, I thought it was Mad Dog.
Nah, it ain't Mad Dog.
Huh.
You keep talking. I'm gonna do some Google.
Well, for real, look up Cisco, because I remember it's called liquid. It literally is liquid crack.
I ain't drink no Cisco.
I can't see. I'm blind.
211. That's the Steel Reserve.
Ew.
Yeah, you a gross mother.
With the bull on that.
Yeah. That should take you to the moon and back. Man.
Listen to how cool I thought I was.
What's up?
Do you remember what were they called?
Sparks.
Ew. That was like after high school.
Yeah. I was 19.
And Four Locos, when they had the crazy stuff in it.
That's the shit I did not drink.
I shotgunned.
Did you? Good. Jesus.
Yeah.
What a night.
Ugh.
All right.
So yeah, high school, drank sleepovers. I did do triple C's, Cortisone and cough and cold.
Oh, like cough medicine?
But I started hanging out with some bad girls. I'm not kidding.
Early.
I'm not kidding. And we were like the preppy girls. So it's like, you wouldn't think it.
Was this in Charlottesville?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our parents, and this is, I don't think kids do this anymore, but our parents would drop us off on the downtown mall, the pedestrian mall, every Friday night for Fridays after 5. And that was the thing. That's what we did every Friday, starting in middle school, all through high school. But in high school, we started stealing from CVS. We would each steal a box of these.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I need to actually. I think I need to put that on my
Allegedly.
I need to make amends with CVS.
So let's check it. Anything we say in the omission of a crime, we just start with allegedly. Allegedly stole bottles.
Allegedly, no, they stole boxes of these pills and would each take a whole box.
Allegedly.
And then the first time I did, allegedly, the first night I did
there
it.
you go.
We went to go see The Notebook.
Oh, what a movie. Classic.
Yeah. I just remember standing up and everything turned white. And I was like, I'm fucking dying. What is going on? I'm dying.
Shit, yo.
I was like, oh my God. And I fell. I literally just fell back into my seat.
Damn it, yo.
And robo tripping, basically I didn't have balls. Still don't.
You said balls off. What are rolling balls?
Literally,
it's all kind of weird ass phrases.
It's like you feel super heavy and it's like people didn't notice that we were like
Gone. Just fucking.
like, what is wrong with gravity right
God
now?
damn,
Like
yo.
stomping around on bricks on the downtown mall and like hanging out at this place called
Look at me.
the Tea Bazaar, wearing our Abercrombie.
Abercrombie.
I was privileged, I'm telling you. I wore all Abercrombie. I just had this conversation with my mom.
Mhm.
I was like, that shit is expensive.
Yo, I moved here from Florida, and that's how I got into the thick of the shit. Like, I came here in a football jersey and shorts, and then I saw Timberland boots and Averex jackets, and then Abercrombie. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, his style was so different. You was the Abercrombie wear.
Yeah, my older sister's boyfriend used to call me Crombie. That is all I wore. Like, that's all I wore.
Yeah, that was, man, I bought a t-shirt from that bitch one time, and that shit was like $50. Yeah, but I was trying so hard to fit in. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Like, I didn't even like fit into my own skin. I always felt out of place. And it was like, I was saying earlier, like in AA, we say, like the big book says, tired, restless, irritable, and discontent. And that was me. Like, literally, I feel like the minute I like I fell off the assembly line, like pretty much was born fucked up. Didn't work. No, I mean, that is what I felt like at such a young age. I was always like, you know, as trying to get attention, whether it was negative or positive. Like, you know, it was just always like sad, like icky feelings about myself, about everything, like the uncertainty.
Nah, I get it. So like majority of the time you were acting out, but internally you could feel like this isn't me. This isn't who I am and who I'm supposed to be.
I didn't know what the heck. I mean, I still sometimes think I'm an alien, but
and we are.
100%. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad.
You know what I'm saying?
Glad people are starting to see.
Like,
you got to find your people.
You got to.
Well, I never felt. I never fit in, but I tried so hard to fit. I did. I did. I had friends like in high school and stuff, but I always just, you know, people always say like, you feel alone in like a crowded room.
Yes, yo. When people would ask me what was wrong with me, when I explained depression, that's the only way I could ever describe it. And I just got goosebumps. You're the first person I've heard say that. And that's, when I was really struggling like 16, 17 with like who I was as a person, like, you know, I had like identity crisis almost, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm African-American, but at some points, like I was too white for the black kids and too black for the white kids. So I was like in the middle. So I think like 12th grade, I started like switch up my style. I was wearing the headbands, chains, earrings, baggy pants. And I remember I walked into this party. Salute to Steve. Big Steve was sitting in the party and I walked in and he was like, man, look who decided to be black. And I just like looked at him. I was like, bro, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? But that was me like trying to figure out myself. You know what I'm saying? Like just trying to fit into spaces and have people to interact with.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I mean, shoot, I was a chameleon like my whole life. I was really, really good at being what you wanted me to be. And especially with men. Because I literally like, I definitely always said I was a people pleaser. But actually like recently after dealing with a people pleaser, I'm like, I was never a people pleaser. I'm actually the exact opposite. Sometimes like it's a bad thing. But I just did not know who I was and just I was literally, so this is probably going to sound crazy. I swear I was sober, swear I wasn't on acid. I might have been allegedly at one point in my life, but my second spiritual experience in sobriety was when I think I was like 6 months sober maybe. And I literally, it was the craziest experience. I felt like the being, the spirit of Gina, me, that my higher power, the universe, God, I believe that they're one thing, created me to be entered back into the shell of my body. And I finally like
Woke up.
I felt, yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, like this is fucking like who I'm supposed to be. Like it was crazy.
So before we even get there, because I know that spiritual awakening feeling so well. How did you end up in Richmond? Because a lot of this you talking about was in Charlottesville, right?
Yeah, I've been all over. I lived in Atlanta.
Goddamn.
Before in high school, before I wound up here. But yeah, my parents, I really wasn't out of control. Like my eating disorder, absolutely. I was really sick. And I was hanging out with girls who were doing things like, I honestly was scared of everything my whole life. So I didn't want to I was scared to get in trouble. Like that, you know, I was just doing stuff because everyone else was.
Right. You were fitting in.
Right.
I call that stepping into the box.
Trying to. But yeah, with the eating disorder and everything, my parents were, I was probably going to die if, you know, I didn't get better. So I moved to Atlanta and then sorry, Dad, got to call you out again. I almost killed my aunt because she got sick. That doesn't happen. Like people get sick.
Yeah.
But they were like, you stressed her out.
Your fault.
They're Catholic. So, no offense to the Catholics.
Dog, what is going on with the Catholics, bro? This is the second time on the phone.
No offense.
Somebody said that shit.
Funny story. Side note.
Oh man.
The chameleon that I am, I dated a Mormon, and he said if you want to get married, like you have to be Mormon. I got baptized Mormon.
Did you?
Fuck yeah, I did. I wanted to marry this guy, man. And then he broke up with me.
Damn it! After the baptism?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's fucked up.
It's totally. It's totally fine.
So it worked out for the best.
So I'm spiritual. Anyway, so
you got to Richmond. Or this is Atlanta. Or we in Richmond.
So I'm back in. I don't remember coming back to Charlotte. Oh no, I remember coming back to Charlottesville because I lived kind of basically with my best friend Sydney, and you know, my eating disorder was like full blown bad. I mean, I was anorexic, bulimic, like all the things with food. And that is, you know, just another like, so at first it was like Kmart and like the things when I was little that I talked about with addiction, my addiction like behavior was showing. Then it evolved into eating and my grades. Like I was a perfectionist. That is the only thing that I felt like I could control in my life. Everything else was chaos. So I'm like, okay, as long as I can just have these things, I'll feel okay.
Right.
Just got to hold on to that. So and I have to say this because the way I remember it happening, and I know a lot of people, they say that kind of stuff when they're about to lie, but I'm not lying. I just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But yeah, my mom hit me on the way to school one day and I was just like, you can't hit me anymore. I'm 16. Can't hit me in the face. So I was like, I'm going to tell somebody. And I didn't tell anyone. And the next thing I knew, my best friend's mom was like, you know, your parents are taking you to court. And I was like, okay. It was very weird because, again, like I said, I grew up like I had a car.
Right. Privileged.
I was privileged.
Yeah.
I'm the girl who was like on the tennis court and my mom surprises me with a Volkswagen Golf. And I was like, I'm not driving that car.
You hear this shit?
I'm not driving that car. And they got me a brand new Ford Focus. Anyway, so yeah, my parents weren't horrible. They're amazing.
You were a youth trying to figure things out, and as parents,
I was dealing with trauma, all the trauma that I had, you know, the experiences that caused the trauma, and just dealing with it the way I could. And my mom was dealing it with it like her way, and my stepdad was just like locked up. Poor Art, he's amazing, and he's still with my mom. Like he's amazing.
Good job, Art.
He is the fucking man.
Word.
So yeah, but yes, I did get I was awarded the state. I went to court the next morning and I don't even remember what happened in court. It was just all like really scary because I never thought that would happen.
Right.
And so I went to Richmond. I had like a guardian ad litem. Went to Richmond to this place called Kids in Focus, and it was like a halfway house for kids. School in the basement, and they were like, "You're going home after the 3 months is up here," and that was just a lie. And next thing I knew, I was here in Richmond at Virginia Home for Boys and Girls, which is like right down there, right?
It's somewhere nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys. It's a really great place, honestly. Like I thought about going and working there or volunteering
do a little, like,
there.
service work to get
Hell
back.
yeah.
Yeah, let's plug in there. I would like to.
Yeah, we should.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That would be awesome. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
But it was the end of 11th grade. You know, I had my friend group at home. I thought they were my friends. Apparently they like vandalized a Chick-fil-A, not knowing that I was in Richmond. No one knew where I went. Like at first they vandalized a Chick-fil-A and left my phone number, and like the owner or the manager of the Chick-fil-A called my parents' house. They were like, she's not even in Charlottesville.
Right. She can't even leave.
So these girls were not nice girls.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Well, they tried to frame you.
The one girl, I'm not going to say her name. She knows who she is.
Wherever you are.
She also got in trouble. She like, I think was going to be on Dr. Phil for like hazing she was like a big hazer when it came to like sororities, making girls stand in. She was just not a nice person.
Wild ass shit.
Just evil. So yeah, I went into the group home. I had to like earn my privileges, and I'm like, what the fuck are privileges? Like, what are chores?
Right.
Where's my car? Like, it was just like
an experience.
It was nuts. I was living with girls like, you know, imagine like just put yourself in my shoes. I'm like this little white girl, like who's like
had everything
handed to her, because if I didn't get it handed to me, I was going to get it somehow.
Right.
And I'm still.
You learned how to play the game.
Yeah. If I want something, I usually get it.
Word.
And that's true to this day.
Yeah. In a positive manner.
Right. Yeah. Right. I go after it with,
Yeah. Grit, muscle.
Exactly. So I'm just very motivated. Anyway, so yeah, I'm in this house with these girls, and I wasn't terrified, but I was like, oh my God, like this is embarrassing. Like, the girls, like a lot of them, their parents were drug addicts, and at the time, alcohol is a drug that is just still socially acceptable, which is honestly
we having
stupid.
Fun with this shit.
Right. It's like, so like we're addicts, like alcohol is a drug. So yeah, they didn't have parents. They were either incarcerated or like this one girl was from Sudan, and like her parents were murdered.
Oh shit.
Like these girls had it rough.
Like a pile of trauma stuffed into
one house, 8 girls. Like it should be a reality show.
Yeah, we definitely got to go there.
Like fuck the 16 and pregnant. Like why don't you put your cameras in
here
in a group home
and try to change some lives?
Exactly. Seriously.
Yeah, that's a mission. That's a purpose. Let's go.
But it was awesome. To be honest, like it was such an experience. My eating disorder went away. Like they definitely say like environmental things can, situations, environments can affect that kind of stuff. So it immediately was lifted. I have body dysmorphia. I think that is always going to be a thing, but I don't struggle with food. I'm like, give it to me. Like, let me eat. But yeah, I worked. I got my first job. So that was cool. I earned my privileges. They said it was like a record breaking.
Really?
A record breaking.
So you went in there.
I get slayed. I was like, I'm getting out of this.
On a mission. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so you did learn some like positive attributes.
100%. I learned life skills.
That's what's up.
Life skills for sure. But yeah, I went home, and after that, dropping out of college, and kind of went right back into it.
And that's where like heavy drinking and stuff kind of came into play.
Yeah, and like after a breakup, an abortion, a breakup, like I realized alcohol could actually make me like, this is doing something for me. Like, it wasn't a drinking, like, to have fun.
Right.
I was drinking, like,
It's a cope.
to honestly, like, people say, and I say it a lot, like, people say they drink or they use whatever drug of choice is to escape from life. I was doing it so I could, like, be a part of life. Like, it's the
Right.
only way I knew how to, like, deal with shit. Like,
Really?
I had to drink to go out. I was like, before I stopped drinking,
Mhm.
I would pre-game a first date,
Mhm.
like, by myself while I got ready, 2 bottles of wine,
Oh yeah.
and then be like, "Why didn't they call me back?" What?
Showed up a little too tipsy.
Literally was the girl who, like, always made best friends with the Uber driver and, like, "Can I have your number? Can I call you to come pick me up later?" Like,
Like, yo, chick, I'm trying to get my money. Use the app.
oh my god. Yeah.
So, I mean, shit. Life, how old were you? Like, during that phase?
Mm. What phase?
Like, the pre-gaming before going out. You know what I'm saying?
That was really Richmond. Like,
It
that
was,
started in Richmond, and I think it was because, and I know this sounds nuts, but
Mhm.
dating apps, like, there's something about dating apps that, like, I started to get nervous just, like, leaving my house sometimes
Mhm.
because I was always nervous that people were gonna like, recognize me from a dating app.
Mhm. Damn.
And that, I mean, that's scary. Well, you think about it, people are crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at the camera, like, because I know some of y'all are gonna watch this, and y'all are nuts. Like, you do not know who people are. You don't know who your neighbors are. Sometimes, like, people are just. We're living in a really fucking wild, wild west of a world.
World, yeah. Shit get weird.
Um,
It's funny you say like the dating app phase. Like as I think I missed that boat because I think I enjoy like personal connection and
Me too.
the times that I did try. You know, I'm happily
Mhm.
married now. I love you, Steph.
Hi,
But
Steph.
I used to like I get on there and
Mhm.
I'm not like a heavy texter. So if like my initial reaction is like we got to text to get to know each other,
Mm-mm.
I can't do that shit because the second I got like one word response like hey how are you good, I'm not writing back because that shit to me is like stale conversation.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. Well,
Yeah, you know.
yes, I hear that a lot about girls on dating apps from guys, like my guy friends, and
Mhm.
also guys that were on dating apps would be like, girls can't hold conversations. I'm like, they're probably just not interested in you.
Word, and that could have been
No
it too.
offense.
Yeah, fuck it.
But no, I'm just like, I'm much better in person. Like, it's crazy. And it just makes things so awkward. But what was really crazy and delusional was I was using dating apps heavily
Mhm.
when I was drinking. And no first dates, like, don't take me to dinner. That's a second date. I'm going to vet you at my house.
Oh yeah, on the first date.
First date. Because then I don't have to be embarrassed if I don't want you. I can just kick you out of my house, you know? So, second date was dinner. But it always ended up like just attaching onto someone, and that was just as sick as I was, you
Mm.
know. Like, you're sick as my kind of sick. Like, let's
They be
destroy
sick
each
together.
other. Let's
Yeah.
fuck each other's lives up and be super awful. Um, but yeah, it's funny because I got sober and I started meeting people like the normal way, and that's, you know, that's how I would like it to be. Dating apps to me, the people I've met are just very unhealthy. Um, and I've also noticed that with me, like, it makes me feel a certain way. Like,
Mhm.
it's not social media, like, as much good that, like, what we do,
Mhm.
like, normalizing, like,
Being
recover,
sober and shit.
not,
Yeah,
yeah, just being, not even just from
and a
being
good person.
sober, but like, yeah, just being a good person and like just healing from whatever you fucking have been through. Like, making it like it normal, like, to be like, hey, I'm not okay.
Right.
Like, that's like my mission. But in general, like, social media is, and dating apps and technology, like, it's really, really unhealthy. And like, we are becoming so disconnected.
Yeah, it is a weird vibe. But let me ask you this,
Mhm.
and before we even get off on the social media tangent, because I know
Ugh.
that shit is like crazy. The highlight reel is what I call it. What led you to finding sobriety? Like, what was your U-turn moment?
So I didn't have a rock bottom, or whatever you want to call it. I never got like arrested. Definitely should
I mean,
have.
everybody rock bottom is different. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
well, mine was just like a series. What was that movie? Like a series of unfortunate events.
Mhm.
Let me make
Yeah,
it
yeah,
all up.
yeah, something like that.
Well,
Lemony.
it's funny when it's a movie, but then you realize that that's your life.
Mhm.
Like just a series of fucking unfortunate events. And it was like, I remember one of the last times, God, and I obviously my mom and I made our amends to each
Mhm.
other, but my mom, was hanging out with certain people,
Mhm.
um, and I had been drinking that night
Mhm.
heavily. Also had been doing other things that canceled out the alcohol.
Like powder.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even good. Damn,
See,
I'm just
man,
kidding.
I was about to say something, but I can't even.
It
Go
wasn't
there. I
good.
can't go there, man.
Well,
Don't take me back.
so
You didn't see the right people. Nah, let me stop.
damn it,
Stop.
damn it.
Joking. These are jokes, comedy style. Haha.
Well, I'm sorry, but if you're in recovery, like, and you don't have a sense of humor, you're not gonna make it.
Facts.
No, I'm not gonna say you're gonna drink or you're gonna like, relapse or whatever. But you just gotta like, like loosen your pants up. Take your
Yeah,
pants
there's a
off.
tad bit,
Take your pants
man.
off. Take your
Be
bra off.
chill.
Yes. I just see people in meetings get like offended by things people say, and I'm just like,
Relax.
not for the weak-hearted.
Yeah, nah, we ain't on that.
But
So-
remember that, not for the weak-hearted. And
Alright.
they were like, did you ever download music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the era of Napster. What do you mean?
LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire, Napster. Like I had all kind of viruses on my parents' computer, yo. I crashed like 3 computers, dog. I was the CD guy. Before drugs, I was selling CDs.
Me too. Well, I didn't sell them. I just made them.
Shit, I went to school. Yo, we was right at the wall. Salute to Tucker High School. I come in with the disc, the blueprint. Like, yo, what y'all need? I got them.
I just made the best mix CDs, and everyone, like, I was famous for them because I would like,
telling you.
I would like get really like fucked up on Adderall and like not fucked up on Adderall as a kid. Whoops. I would just be up all night and like I had all the color Sharpies, so I would like just decorate the fuck out of the CDs and
just like mad.
I still have a lot of them too.
Oh man, just some of the names that was on the discs, like Mad Car Ride for the Love. Like man, yeah.
One of them that was like Tip Drill was famous. Remember that song?
Yeah. Said it must be because it ain't your face.
Tip Drill.
Yeah.
Use a tip drill.
That was like the closest thing to like porn as a young man. Like, cause the video wouldn't come on till midnight. And like you got lucky when that shit hit BET After Dark or whatever it was. Like, oh. All right, your U-turn moment. Your U-turn moment. Your
so my U-turn moment. Yeah, so just like lots of like bad things would always happen. And I always said this too when I drank. Like it was like, what the fuck was wrong with me? And it's that vicious cycle of alcohol and addiction. Like I'm never drinking again, just to be like, oh, I'm going drinking tonight. Like just gonna do it all over again.
Hours right after that, sick. What are you doing tonight? Nothing. Nah, come out.
I'm never drinking. I thought that was gonna be on my tombstone. Like it was literally like my signature like tagline. Like if I had a show, I'm never drinking again. Like when they introduce themselves in the beginning.
That is the name of this pod. I'm never drinking again.
That's actually I don't want to give away the name of my book title.
Never mind.
So
just kidding.
I'll write it down and tell you. But it's funny. So yeah. I lost my keys one night and we went looking for them everywhere. My friend that you met tonight was with me.
Okay.
But I had a feel. I was like, no. I was like, I don't lose my keys. I'm all coked up. Like I don't lose keys. They're not in 7-Eleven. Like we went everywhere, looked for these keys, and then I knew where I put them. They were on this dude's dashboard, not my friend that you met tonight. And I kept saying, I was like, he stole them. Like he doesn't want me to leave. I've been getting creepy. I was pissed at that point. Like I was like, I just want my fucking keys. I have dogs at home. And so
you was ready to go. Regardless.
I wanted to go home.
To get the fuck out of there.
And I went home. I got an Uber home. and because I have a spare key outside, and got in, cool. Then I was like, fuck, my spare car keys in my car. Like, who does that? Only me.
Mhm.
So I had to get a locksmith to come open my car to get my spare key
Mhm.
for my car, like my spare car key.
Yeah,
Um,
that's smart.
and then the guy who you know,
Dipping
I
out on.
knew stole my keys was like, "Oh, I found your keys. They were on the dashboard of my car."
Duh. I knew that.
I'm pretty sure I looked there with my hands 20 times. Like I was literally like on top of the dashboard.
Mhm.
I couldn't find them. They were not there. They were, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wasn't spending the night at your house. No means no.
Word.
So I called my mom. Like, first of all, whenever something like that would happen, and it was pretty often that it was the end of the world,
Mhm.
I was gonna make it. Yeah, it happened like at least 5 times a day. It was
Oh,
like a
man.
World War 80 going, like bombs going off, bombs over Baghdad, like all the time. And I was the type where like, if I'm gonna suffer, you're fucking suffering with me.
Word.
You're going down with me. And if you don't agree with me, or if you're not feeling like my feelings and like
I
being
gotta
like,
make you
oh
feel
my
that
God,
shit. Yeah.
no, I would get pissed.
Word.
I would get pissed. So my mom was like, were you drinking? And I was like,
Was your mother sober at this point?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. This was literally like right before I got sober.
So like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say a little over 2 years ago. But it was like one of those last defining moments. The last defining moment was when I thought my car got stolen. But awesome. That was funny. My mom goes, "Were you drinking?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Fuck!" Like, yeah.
Yes.
My mom knows
Was
because
mom.
my mom is me.
Right.
Literally, I swear to God, I'm her clone.
Mhm.
She knows. And I was like, no, Mom, I wasn't drinking. Like, totally lying. But then I throw this just to like pour more salt on I was just a bitch. Like,
Mhm.
I was so unhappy and so awful. But I was like, that's not very AA like of you to say. Like,
just throwing some
let
shit
me
at her.
throw your recovery and be like, let me like call you out on how you're being a bad AA
Because you felt bad.
when I'm coked up out of my mind and I
Yeah.
can't find my car keys because I was hanging out with people I shouldn't be hanging
Right.
out with and doing things I shouldn't be doing, because nothing good ever came out of a drunk Gina. And I always said that
Mhm.
when I was in my addiction. It's just because I knew the truth. But I never like put 2 and 2 together that like all of these things were happening to me because of my drinking.
Mhm.
And I was always like, I was seeing my friends like or people like being successful, like jobs, and I had a great job. Shit, I was high functioning in that aspect, but like relationships were like non-existent. I didn't even have one with myself. I hated myself, um that's where it's like alcohol didn't really take anything away from me. It was like prohibiting me. It was kind of like a trap, basically. I was in prison.
I call it the box.
I couldn't attain the things that I wanted because alcohol and my disease, ultimately, because alcohol was just like my quick fix medicine for
Everything.
the disease of the disease
Right.
of unhappiness, the disease of self-hatred, like the disease of my thinking. And it's just a thinking disease. Like I was nuts. Like when I tell people like I was insane, and they're like, "Oh, no, you weren't." I'm like, "Bitch, you were not living in my mind." Like,
shit, we've been there. I understand.
Spend an hour in this dangerous playground. But yeah, man, like I was sitting on my floor in my living room one like afternoon, morning, I don't really remember, but nothing had happened. Nothing really happened like that was huge like that. I just felt something, and it wasn't a voice, but it was like something of like a voice kind of like inside of me.
Yeah, like moved you. I know that. Like,
100% was like a feeling. It was all sensory. Like I could feel it like throughout me. Saying
that emotion,
it was
like when
crazy.
you describe it, right? Like
was-
people who haven't felt it, like look like, yo, that's nuts. So for me,
I felt nuts for a second.
I'm telling you, like I was in the hospital, you know, my story was I tried to commit suicide. So
Mhm.
the next morning when I was in the hospital, still a wreck, pissed off, crying, like angry, like why the fuck am I still here?
Mhm.
It was like this calming, like spirit just swept over me,
Mhm.
and a voice. Like I even looked around.
Right.
You know, it was like, you got a second chance at life.
Mhm.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
Like strictly like that. And I was like, the fuck, you know?
Right.
And I like stopped. Like every emotion stopped, and I looked at the nurse and was like, yo, I'm ready. Take me where you got to take me. And that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that feeling, I got goosebumps thinking
No, I'm
about
like,
it. It just never fades. It's beautiful.
No,
Good
it
job, good
is.
job,
It
good job.
is. And that like that day, it was like something said to me like, you're never gonna drink again. And it wasn't me saying like I'm never drinking again, because that was the first and only time I never said it.
Mhm.
And I never questioned that decision. I never questioned what happened.
You just went with it.
I went with it, and I was like, well, we've never tried that before. Like, let's do it.
What
Like,
a fucking thought.
I'm always down for a challenge.
Word.
And I've been sober ever since. And
Applause.
yeah. But
Good job.
you know, I mean, it's fucking hard, man. Like,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful. And I really like sobriety's great, but like there's a difference, and this is just how I feel.
Mhm.
My experience. There is a difference between just not drinking and really fucking working on yourself and healing and
Right.
doing that inner work that it's not always like people are like, oh, you get sober and it's like rainbows, butterflies, and yeah, it is a lot of the times, but sometimes
Life still fucking life.
life gets lifey, and it gets lifey a lot,
Yeah.
and life is random, and you just, the thing is, I know how to handle things.
Right.
And sometimes I shock myself. I'm like, bitch, who are you?
And that's the
Like,
beauty
go.
that's the joy and the beauty of recovery, right? Like
Yeah.
no matter what test life chooses to throw at us,
Mhm.
we're prepared. You know, we
Right.
sit, like you said, when we started, you had to sit with some feelings for a couple of days,
Mhm.
you know, without turning to substances to be like, well, I just will blatantly not deal with the problem at hand, won't think
Right.
about it, and just create more issues while I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? Like I do that. Like I don't get tested too much.
Right.
But when they come, you know, there's always a blessing on the other side of it. Or
Mhm.
something's revealed to me.
Right.
Like, yo, that had to happen. And here's
Right.
why.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that joy is what I try to help some of my clients see.
Mhm.
You know, like you haven't passed your test yet. That's why you keep repeating this shit. It's a test.
Right.
Like you keep failing it. You pass it, see what the other side is, then be prepared for the next test.
100%. When we were just talking about the Taylor Swift song, like I am the problem.
It's me.
I always was the fucking problem. But I knew that, like, and then she came out with that song, and I was like,
man.
I was like,
That's my jam.
I have that album, and I was not a Taylor Swift fan
Me
ever.
either. But she wrote the fuck out of that song, yo.
That whole album's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
love it. My other joint is what the fuck is it, man? Just keep talking.
I like the one where she's dressing for revenge.
What is the joint that's like
It's sick.
Karma?
It's all good.
Karma is the joint, yo. Karma is my shit.
She's
That
so
song.
talented.
Yeah, I fuck with Taylor Swift.
She's cool.
Yeah.
Because she's real. I love like the celebrities who fucking keep it real. And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm a mess. Like, I'm a hot mess.
I actually
Like,
named the podcast episode I'm the Problem Is Me.
that's amazing.
But check it. This was a good conversation.
Hell yeah.
What I normally do for my guests is you're talking to an individual who's probably had a similar background, been through some things, and is sitting here watching or listening to this, thinking like, damn, what could they say to me to offer me hope? What would you tell that person?
That's tough. People ask me this a lot, and it's tough. I think this is probably like one of the hardest questions. Because there's so much I could say. But really is like, don't listen to anybody about like, don't do this, don't go to this place. Like, do what works for you. Like try all the things that are good for you, obviously. You know, just go with your gut, first of all.
For sure.
Gut feelings are real.
Listen to that voice.
Listen to it. And blaze your own trail. Like I've done that since I was a kid. Like just be yourself, and people's opinions, they're not your business. Like you're going to lose people in recovery. You're going to gain some fucking amazing people. Just do what is good for you.
I love it. That is excellent ode of advice. Gina, I appreciate you pulling up.
Yes, finally.
I know, yo, this has been like a year in the making. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
Yo, Sean,
Depression.
this woman has flaked so many times.
Yo.
You know what? We not even gonna get that. I ain't even doing that.
Well, guess what? Now I'm joining.
Yeah, you hear what's the vibes? Yo, proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
Again. Appreciate it.
So proud.
We got to do this again soon.
Absolutely. Tomorrow.
All right, let's get it.
You asked.
Redeem Yourself podcast. We out.
Bye. Woo! It's time for bed.